Four parents, 9 kids, 2 houses. Didn't really wanna talk about this. Four parents, 9 kids, I'm queer. One thing's clear, there's no dysfunction here. Four parents, 9 kids, 2 houses. Didn't really wanna talk about this. Four parents, 9 kids, I'm queer. One thing's clear, there's no dysfunction here.
Dave, hand me a beer.
Yay!
Welcome
Start with the
to
horn.
episode 27, everybody.
Yeah.
Hello.
27?
Big
Yep.
2-7.
What are we talking about today, guys? We're actually bringing some real shit to the table.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We've got some co-parenting stuff that we gotta do. So it just so happens that our producer and the creator of our intro, Jonah, is the subject matter.
Yeah, so this is a moment where we have had a difficult parenting week, I would say, or at least the last few days, and we are in a little bit of a moment, and we figured, we need a parenting meeting, and we also have to record our podcast, so
Let's do it.
Let's kill 2 birds.
fucking go.
Yeah.
I got
Why do
my
we have to
gloves
kill any
on.
birds?
Let's kill 3 if we're really going to get
Brass
stuff
knuckles.
done. Why
That
stop at
looked
2?
like, isn't that what they do for fisting? Gloves on.
I don't know, but I'm learning now. Just kidding. I think I knew.
Is that why all the cameras are here?
Correct.
Oh,
I
so
don't know why
where
you
do we
asked me
begin?
of all people. Like I would know.
Is this fisting, Jonah?
Yeah. You're on the internet,
I
right?
meant to ask our erotic novelist.
Oh, yeah.
I
We
don't
should
think
have asked
I've ever written
you.
about fisting with
Oh.
gloves, so this is new.
New chapter.
Yeah,
We're gonna-
Fisting.
Sounds like you need a 28th book.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We're going to do some research
Yeah.
and get back to you guys
for sure.
Yeah,
on that.
yeah.
So
We
we don't
have to
want to
know.
speak out of turn.
I nominate AJ for a joke because he told
That
me one
early?
earlier and I don't remember it, but it was funny.
All right, I'll do my best. Joke time.
All right.
Guys, why did the Karen hit shift function control?
Oh, yeah.
Why?
She wanted to see the task manager.
He told us that while we were building cairns at Buddha Beach today. Because Adrian kept being like, I just keep waiting for a woman to show up and be like, let me speak to your manager every time you say Karen.
Thought we were saying Karens instead of Karen.
Do you guys know what a cairn is?
No.
C-A-I-R-N.
You've seen
No,
them.
it's like a balanced stack of rocks that's like this beautiful meditative sculpture.
Where they
that
look like
they're
they shouldn't be
everywhere
able
in
to balance,
Sedona,
but they do.
And we were building them today, and
Yeah.
we were making cairns.
It was good.
I might have been thinking cistern,
What's a
which
cistern?
I think is some kind of water holder.
That does
Cistern
sound.
chapel?
Steam
Steam
chapel. That's what I was
That
thinking.
does sound like
Chapel.
something I've heard before.
I thought task manager was Control Alt Delete.
No, Control Alt Delete's just to like.
Shut down?
Well, no, it's
I mean,
something.
task
Reset?
manager is one of the options.
Here's what I'll
when
be
you hit
honest with.
Control Alt
Here's what
Delete.
I'll be honest about. I'm not sure if it was shift function control, but I know it wasn't Control Alt Delete on the one I saw, so I just made 3 up.
Well, what's happened since we last met? It's been a really long time. We had Mother's Day.
We had Mother's
That was
Day.
fun.
That was good.
We had
So
a
much going on.
Mexican Navy ship crash into a
bridge?
major
Yeah,
bridge,
did you
the
see
Brooklyn
that?
Bridge.
I did not know that.
Yeah.
It was crazy.
All
some
of the
injuries.
comments on the videos I saw were really funny because what it looked like was like a booze cruise ship. It had like lights strung out.
like
It looked like
the
a fake
Navy?
pirate ship. And then when it was reported that it was a Mexican Navy ship, I'm like, well, they better not be fighting any battles soon
Yeah,
because
it's a party.
they're not getting anywhere.
There was a prison break in New Orleans.
Oh, in
Oh,
Louisiana.
a prison break
And they
in
didn't see
Louisiana.
they got out until like 7 or 8 hours later or something.
They
That's wild.
literally broke. I think they had help on the other side. The news story I saw, but they
No, they had
removed.
help on the inside.
That's what I meant.
Oh.
They had help on the inside, but they removed a toilet. They wrote like, "We are free." Whatever. Fuck you. I don't know.
It said too easy, LOL.
Too easy. LOL. That's so great.
That's amazing.
And then they climbed through,
Did
but
they write it in shit?
They spelled too wrong.
Next
That's all
to the
they
toilet?
had.
They put T-O, not T-O.
That's
Oh,
even
no.
better.
I hope the grammar police catch them.
Those prison
Put a
teachers are no good.
Yeah, but
Nailed
what's
it.
crazy is that they didn't realize these guys were gone until 7 hours after they escaped at the morning bed check. Is that
Oh,
so pathetic
wow.
and embarrassing for this prison? Like,
Sorry.
but honestly, I'm like, as long as they're not dangerous, I'm rooting for them.
I wonder how often they're supposed to get eyes on each inmate.
Yeah, that's
you
what I
brought
was
that up.
wondering.
If it's just at bedtime and then in the morning,
It
like,
obviously
maybe
needs
7
to
hours
be more
isn't-
frequently.
right? Maybe
Maybe
7
they
hours
made
is normal.
the perfect like stuffing in their sheet, so it looked like they were still there.
Oh,
They
there
could
you
have
go.
done that for
Pulled the old
sure.
eight-year-old
The
trick.
classic
Yeah.
Shawshank
The
Redemption.
11th grade sneak out trick.
Yeah, yeah, for sure. I
Like,
feel like
kind
we've
of-
done that.
I worked at a juvenile boys' home that was not a lockdown facility, and the bed checks were hourly.
Wow.
They're supposed to be hourly.
I remember when you had a telephone thrown at your head by one of those guys.
Well, that was the developmental center.
Oh.
Like,
Did you dodge
Where-
it?
no,
No.
Oh,
like,
it gotcha.
there was no time. I turned around. It was one of those rotary dial, like a
Yeah.
20-pound phone from the 80s, and it hit me right like between the shoulder blades.
Oh man, that's wild.
Same dude broke a lamp over me,
Man.
a glass lamp. He would always scream Ian at me.
Eden?
Ian?
Ian.
Oh,
Oh,
Well,
I
that's the only
remember
thing
that.
he would ever say, but it was out of anger, and he's like, Ian, Ian. I'm like, no, I'm not Ian. I'm not Ian.
You know that Ian has done a number on you.
Our foster child's name was Ian too. That one that was such an experience. Oh my God, that's a story for another time. But yeah, Ian.
Man.
That was Ian.
We had a foster
That's
kid.
wild.
When Chandler was
a
little.
baby.
Yeah.
It was crazy.
You have a brother you don't even know about. It's amazing.
Ian,
Turns out he loves pancakes as long as he doesn't have to feed himself.
That's one story we can tell very quickly. Is like this poor child. They didn't know how old he was. We were in California. It was like in the LA foster system. They did not know even how old this kid was. He had been so neglected, but he looked like he was about the size of like a big 4-year-old. He couldn't talk. And he didn't know how to feed himself. And we took him to Denny's, and the foster mom that we were watching him for, or like temporarily, it was like a test run. She's
Yeah, like we were watching.
He
just for the
doesn't like to
weekend.
eat, but if he gets hungry enough, he'll eat, you know? And so we take him to Denny's, and Chandler's chowing down on his pancakes, you know, the one with the smiley face made out of whipped cream. And this little kid's just like looking around. So Jake tried to feed him, you know, and he devoured the food. It was heartbreaking to realize that he was not
Wow.
eating
That is
because
tough.
this lady's like, if he gets, this child had never been taught to eat. He couldn't even talk. It was so sad. But anyway,
Wow, that's a
that
lot.
was a crazy experience. Yeah.
Yikes.
wow.
Yeah. The LA foster system is.
We
Whole
quickly
situation.
realized maybe this isn't for us.
Well, it was because of multiple
It was too
sclerosis.
gut-wrenching.
I could not, after the first 3 days, I could not move my neck. I literally had become because
So much
I
stress
had
with
just
it.
recently been diagnosed with MS, and the stress exacerbated the symptoms like crazy. And I was like, I felt so bad to put my foot in that door and to pull back out, but I literally could not take my health away from the child that, you know, it was horrible, but
Wow.
yeah. I wonder where Ian is now.
Man.
But he's doing great.
I
Wow.
hope so.
Sounds like he upset your friend at the developmental center. So
I wonder what happened to that rope ladder that we had to buy because we're on the second floor.
What? Oh, to get approved.
Yeah, we had to buy all this
You had
shit
to have
get
like
approved.
a fire escape
Oh,
out your
interesting.
second floor window. Yeah, they came and, you know, what's the word? Evaluated or whatever to make sure that all the social workers.
Weird.
safety first.
Mm.
Rope ladder.
It's an experience. We had to take classes. It was a whole thing, and then we lasted 3 days.
You tried.
You gave it
for
your best.
effort.
We tried. Anyway, so I feel like we're at this point just avoiding the hard stuff.
Guess we better dive in.
Should we take shots first? Just kidding.
Probably we don't have to.
Probably.
So this last few days, a situation arose where Jonah made some choices that he should not have made, that were not healthy for him, that were dangerous, that he had been. This is the thing that is important to me that we talk about, is that there was an agreement made in this very room that if Jonah broke our trust with his license, if we allowed Jonah to get his license when he wanted to, after he already broke our trust with the Volvo, he promised us, and we promised him, that there would be at least 3 months without a license if he broke that trust. And I cannot in a million years understand how that doesn't break trust with Jonah if we go back on our word on that. And that's how I feel.
And I don't want to say that I disagree. I want to say that we already had a similar situation where, and forgive me, I didn't take notes on any of this, but we already had a similar situation where he screwed up in some way and he wasn't going to get his license until a month after his 16th birthday, or a month after he was eligible, which is like 5 weeks after eligible for his license, which was like 5 weeks later after his birthday. And he came up with like a week into it or something like that, or no, it was before his birthday. Before he turned 16, he came up with an alternative plan, like, hey, how about I, do some volunteer hours instead. And one of us, not all, it's not like we had a parenting conversation about it, but one of us said, well, I'm in. Then somebody else said, yeah, I'm in. It was just a group text thing. Everybody basically one by one agreed, but I was surprised. I was surprised that you were the first person to say yes, I could get down with that, because I thought, this is something that we need to stick with. So now so we allowed, we went back on one thing at one point, and now here we are talking about something that's 3 times more extreme, and maybe that's appropriate. I'm just saying, I don't think if we decided something different, I don't think that means that we're being dishonest with ourselves or dishonest with him or blah, blah, blah. Sometimes if we do 3 months, it's going to be the most strenuous punishment we've ever done,
And
in
that's
my opinion.
important, because Jonah has never had a real punishment in his life. What's the biggest in the last few years, what I see as a pattern is that Jonah misbehaves. And this is, first, I want to talk about the good things about Jonah, because on the way home from Sedona, we just cried while listening to Jonah's music, his powerful, beautiful, heartfelt, soulful lyrics. Jonah is the most incredible human. I admire you, Jonah. I love you. I respect you. I'm so excited to be your mom. I'm so grateful to be your mom. And all of this comes from love and the desire to really help guide you to your highest happiness. And that is where this comes from. But what I see is a very real pattern of Jonah being very emotionally intelligent, very good at understanding what will help us and to make things easier for him. And time again, especially with you, he is able to butter you up and tell you what you want to hear and make you feel like he's all remorseful. And then you soften all of us 3 parents, and it really feels like it's time for this pattern to stop and for him to actually have a real punishment, because that is the pattern I see. And I feel like it's important for us to give a punishment that is guided and directed and within boundaries and safe, to keep Jonah from making a decision, to help him. And you say, well, my parents doled out punishments and it didn't help me behave. And I am personally tired of that narrative, and I told you that yesterday. I cannot compare our parenting to a traditional Mormon shame-filled household. That is not the parenting we're doing. Those are not the punishments we're giving. That's not the model. That's not the way. That's not what we're doing. I am talking about creating real consequences to prevent Jonah from having much worse natural consequences for the shit he's trying to pull. Because it's not just having his friends drunk in a car. That's not the thing. You told me that the seatbelts were all closed. That means they're not wearing seatbelts in the car. That's not all. I have heard from his sister that there was another situation recently that he was trying to put himself in that was dangerous, that Grace and Anna were trying to protect him from himself on because he can be impulsive and not think before he acts and put himself into dangerous situations. He was rude because he didn't want to be told not to do something that was dangerous for him. And Anna wouldn't tell me what that thing was because she loves her brother and wants to protect him. But he has always had an issue with thinking before acting. And if he has a little bit of pain that is safe and whatever, I believe truly that it could prevent him from getting in a major accident, from truly hurting himself permanently. This matters to me. This is not because I want to be mean. This is not because I'm upset with Jonah. Yes, I was fucking upset with Jonah, and he deserved whatever I gave him. I did not deserve to be hung up on, I'll tell you that much. I deserve to have my feelings sometimes, and that is okay. I want him to know that all of this comes out of love and that it is extremely important that he feels the weight of his decisions so that he doesn't mindlessly make the same mistakes twice. That is where I'm coming from.
And when we did let that last one slide, it was because there was going to be a strong consequence if you fucked up again.
Mm-hmm.
And even with the dirt bike, like you pushed.
Yes.
And I was so upset that you were late for your curfew because you push. And I broke down and was like, I'm going to give in. And then it's like, disregard.
And then you were late.
Yep.
On the first night we let you out with it, you were late. It's like, come on.
It wasn't 15 minutes. I texted
It doesn't
you
matter if it's
15
15 minutes. You should be early or on time when we are trying to gain trust with you with
Or
a
communicate.
situation that we feel uneasy about because of safety.
Yeah.
It's important that you respect these boundaries.
And whether it's like, I'm not drinking, I'm not doing drugs, I'm proud of you for not doing those things, but to throw that in my face, that a boundary I set to you is only relevant because it's different than drugs and alcohol, that's not fair. Less than an hour prior to all this going down, I said, please make good decisions. I don't like you spending time with this person. I don't want this person in my home because you make poor decisions. Less than an hour, probably less than 20 minutes before all this went down, I had that conversation with you because I care, because I want you safe, and I want you to learn to make good decisions. And again, I'm like, fuck Tiff. I'm not going to listen to a word she says. I'm going to go do this. That's how I feel every time I ask you to make a good choice and you go about and do what you want. I'm not saying I told you so because that's ridiculous. But what I do tell you isn't to be a bitch, isn't to harp on you. It's because I want you safe. In our home or not in our home.
It's all love, my bud.
Yeah.
I think my brain too is very data driven. Like I'm constantly like I remember a lot and I compare things and situations and whatnot. And in this situation specifically, what I do when I think about it is okay. Time and time again, we have the same issue of Jonah does something he's not supposed to do. He shows us the remorse. He tells us he's smarter than that. He's not going to do it. We need to trust him. He knows now. But then it's not so much of the time just a mistake that is happening. It is a thought out, premeditated plan to do something he knows is not a good idea and only tell us about it if we find out about it. We don't know it's, like a good case in point. And I mean, this is all good case in point, but there's another aspect of it too that is with this data, what it tells my brain is, okay, Jonah is doing this every single time because Jonah knows he can get away with it. Jonah knows it's going to help his punishment come down. Jonah knows he'll get something that he maybe wouldn't get if he behaved in a defensive or, like I'm always trying to express and say, like, if when you're combative and argumentative and defensive about things that are obviously like, you fucked up, you're in the wrong, like just own it, take it, and let's figure this out. He's learned how to do that and then go right back out and do it again, knowing that he can do that again and go right back out and do it again. And then, you know, even in this moment where, you know, you said he came on your heart and you called him and you reached out and said, what are you doing right now? And
Yes.
you said, I'm at CVS with my friends. And that was all you offered up, you know?
Yes.
But what was going on was a lot more, and we found out just minutes later because Anna stumbled upon the situation and understood how unsafe it was and how much danger everyone in the situation was in. And your mom called you back or was on the phone with Anna, I'm not sure, and was like, you better be kind to your sister. You better make sure you treat her respectfully. She's trying to help you. She's trying to make sure you're safe. And on the phone to her, you said, I know, I will. Yes, I understand. And then immediately when you hung up, started berating Anna and slammed the door in her face and went after her, you know?
And I heard all of that because I was on the phone with Anna right after I was on the phone with you.
And I think that's just important to recognize in this situation that 3 months, 3 years, 30 years, 3 days, all we're doing is trying to find what it is that will help you understand that you can't keep doing this. And so far, everything we've done hasn't worked. So my data brain says, we got to do something different. And that was last time, you know? Like when we sat here in this room and I looked you in the eyes and said, I'm choosing to just believe you. I'm choosing to put the power in your hands because you're saying, I will be safe. I'm not going to be dumb. I'm going to make great decisions. I'm going to do all these things. And then you didn't again. And it's not the first, second, or 10th time in the last couple of years. And so we have to, I think, stick to what we said and say, okay, we said 3 months. I think personally, that will hurt enough. I think the next time you get a car back after 3 months and you want to drive it, there's no fucking way you're going to put someone in that car that's going to put your driving privileges into jeopardy. I don't think you'll do things that will put your driving privileges into jeopardy. But I think you did things to put your driving privileges into jeopardy because you felt like, even if I get caught, it's not going to be that bad. That's how I feel.
I agree.
I agree too, for the most part. I just don't agree with everything on how it went down. We've had previous episodes of this podcast where we've talked about, you know, how we're trying to parent, how we're trying to do this, how we're trying to do that. And I don't know if everybody agreed, but I know that one thing I was specifically preaching about is treating them like equal human beings. And when we get angry and lash out at them, I think we owe them an apology. Even if we feel like we were justified in our feelings in that moment, I think we still lost control, and I think we should still apologize for it, even if it came from love. Like, ultimately, we've preached in this podcast about leaving the emotion out of it. Like, these are the facts, and this is what we need to do. And just trying to leave emotion out of, like, when issuing punishments. And, you know, if because we're having a bad day because of him, or we're having a bad day because of somebody else, then it doesn't just go for you, it goes for all of us. Like, if we lash out at our kids, even if we feel justified, that can be part of the explanation when we're apologizing for lashing out at our kids verbally. But I think he deserves an apology.
I can understand that, and I hear you, and I appreciate it, and I agree. I think that, in my view, feeling an emotion and expressing that, even though it probably needs an apology, is purposeful, and is powerful, and it is intentional in some ways. And at the same time, I agree with you. I feel I deserve an apology, and Jonah has not reached out at all since this happened a couple days. He has been ignoring me since he hung up the phone on me. And that, I pushed him out of my vagina. I deserve an apology whenever I am hung up on. I deserve an apology whenever I am disrespected. I deserve a fucking apology when he misbehaves in such a severe way that it blows my entire trip to Utah up. You know?
You absolutely
But
deserve.
Jonah, I apologize for losing my cool for 5 to 10 seconds on you. I do. I apologize. I was extremely frustrated with this pattern that you're on, and I felt in that moment that you needed some fire from your dragon mom, and that was probably wrong, and I apologize. I also will tell you that I did not deserve to be hung up on. I deserve to be listened because my feelings were justified in that moment. But I also apologize for my tone and for the rudeness. I truly do apologize, and I can try and do better. And thank you, Jake, for the reminder. I just also want to say, though, like, it's really important that these things go both ways, because when our children get older, I have been preaching this from the day they were born. Reciprocity matters. And I feel extremely disrespected by Jonah, and I don't want to give respect to people that don't give me respect. And so, because he's my child, I have just not interacted with him a lot, mostly because he's ignoring me, you know? But I think it's extremely important that Jonah understands that he doesn't get sunshine and roses when he puts shit in our face. We have to defend ourselves. We have to stand up for ourselves. I was insulted and disrespected by everything that happened. I was in the midst of that, and I was being mistreated, you know? So it goes both ways, my boy, and I deserve an apology too.
I 100% agree with what Mom's saying, and I feel this way with, like, my children, my co-parents, like, my family outside of, you know, our no dysfunction here, friends, like, co-workers. If I'm treated poorly, the last thing I want to do is give you a favor or provide something to you. And I don't feel like that I'm even taking emotion out of it. It's just like, why am I going to scratch your back when you just put a knife in mine?
And that's what I want to get to, and that's what I feel like we do most of the time, is to express whatever, but take the emotion out of it. And I failed to do that, and I apologize in this time. But when you asked for a favor for me to drive you an hour away and sit around for several hours and then drive you an hour home like I have done multiple times for you, it's a big fucking no. Because I will not do favors for people who do not respect me. Absolutely not.
I think that's kind of the flip side of what you're talking about, Jake, with, like, we want to do parenting differently, and we want to treat our children like human beings, and so when we fuck up, that requires apologies. But the flip side of that coin is we expect the same out of you. We expect you to treat us with respect and apologizing. You know, to me, in a situation that happened this week, like it did, a frustrated mom who's terrified for your safety and well-being after feeling lied to and whatever, and freaks out, maybe doesn't need to be the first person to apologize immediately. Like, in a relationship where you're a human being and we're treating you as a human being and not a child, a parent to a child, we want you to recognize, man, I really fucked up. And, like, before I should expect an apology from anyone for the way they treated me, I need to take ownership of the way I fucked up, acknowledge that to everyone around me, and say, I said I was not going to do this, I did it. I said I was for sure going to be safe, I wasn't. I said all these things, so I totally get it, and I'm really sorry. And I also want to express that really hurt my feelings, and I felt really not cared for in that moment, and that was hard for me. And, you know, like, I think that's what we're trying to get to, and it didn't feel like it this week. It felt like, well, I'm in trouble, and fuck you, because I don't want to deal with it right now.
Yeah, avoidant, hanging up on me, not responding to texts, that is not accountability. That is not what we are teaching. For you to say, I'm waiting for the meeting, but not to even respond to that until, like, the next day, absolutely inappropriate. Absolutely not accountable for what you've done. Communication and reciprocity absolutely matter.
I agree with all that, and I mean, I was the first person to speak with him after the whole situation was over. He brought the car back, and I had a few minutes to talk to him. And one of the first things I said to him after I gave him a hug and told him I was glad he was safe, you know, same thing at the beginning of your Mother's Day music video, you know, he was scared that he was busted. You gave him a hug and said, I'm glad you're safe, you know, like, I think that that's important.
Agreed.
So after doing that, I said, one thing you got to keep in mind is that everybody's going to be, all your parents are going to be in their feelings about this. It affected them all in different ways. It's going to be your job to hear them out and listen. Regardless of what they have to fucking say, you need to just hear them out and listen. Like, I told him, I prefaced him, I preached to him about it, and yeah, he fucked it up by hanging up on you. And when he hung up on you, that's what I told him. I was like, dude, I even told you 2 hours ago that this is exactly what you need to do, is just listen. Just listen, hear what they have to say, take it all in, and then respond. Like, all you need to do is just listen. And he impulsively screwed it up, you know. But the one devil's advocate thing that I want to say in this situation is that, you know, we're all over 40 and we're still trying to figure all this shit out. And he's 16 years old. Like, I feel like we're giving him a better opportunity to learn all this stuff at a younger age than we were given. But it doesn't mean that we should be expecting, like, I believe in the mutual respect two-way street, absolutely. But I don't think that we're ready, should be expecting exactly from him what we are expecting of ourselves as far as making the good, quick decisions and doing the right thing and listening instead of reacting and hanging up. And, like, you know, that doesn't mean he gets to do whatever he wants. It just means that when we're figuring all this shit out, it should go into the equation that he's got 16 years of life experience and we've all got 40 years of over 40 years of life experience, and we still don't have it perfect. Like,
Sure.
And he does so many things that are amazing. Yes, he fucked up the other day, and I'm so sad that he did. But
I think what in my brain, what I'm questioning is, I understand what you're saying, like giving the benefit of the doubt, giving grace. But I'm like, how many times do we have to do that until it registers with Jonah? Like, make a good decision.
I think it doesn't necessarily have to be a mutually exclusive thing, you know? Like, I agree with everything Jake is saying right there, 100%. I just think that that doesn't have to be tied to, okay, then we need to back off this punishment or we need to lessen it because he doesn't know, you know, he hasn't had as much experience or been able to figure out how to behave in every situation or how to react in every situation. But I think we do that, you know? I think more than most parents I know. I mean, like, correct me if I'm wrong, but if we were another parenting group of, you know, that took the approach of you're the child, I'm the parent, and what I say goes, I don't think you would have had nearly as many chances to get to where you're at now. And I think it would be far more than 3 months, if I'm being honest. I think there's so many parents, my parents, oh my God, no fucking way, at least 2 years. You know, like, oh, you can drive when you're 18 is what it would have been. Absolutely, 100%, you know? But the 3 months that we came up with doesn't have to be tied to what our expectations of Jonah behaving are. I think it just is something that at this point feels like to me like he's shown us again and again the way you're trying to do it isn't working for me. And so we need to do something that we feel like might work. And that's why we came up with that. And I just think that we try to marry it together sometimes of like, we love Jonah. We feel bad for Jonah. It doesn't feel good to any of us, at least to me, I'll say for me, to put any punishment on you of like, this is the way it is and this is what it's going to be. All I care about is that whatever the consequence is going to be hopefully more helpful than what we've been trying to do because it's not working. And maybe it doesn't work. Maybe it doesn't work. But that doesn't mean we stop and back off and be like, well, I guess we got to go less now because the harder thing didn't work. It, to me, is we've tried less. We've tried, like, trust. We've tried being like, okay, you've broken our trust a lot of times, but we're really going to still believe you this time. At a certain point, it gets to, all right, we just have to do what we feel is best to try to keep you safe because there's no trust there right now, you know? I can't imagine why any of us would have, me personally, I can't imagine why I would have trust in you right now of anything you said to me. If you said, oh, I'm not doing that, there's a part in my brain for sure that's big that's going to say, I don't believe that at all because I've been told that so many times and it's not been true.
And that, the most important thing that I feel I can teach my children is to be authentic and honest. Authentic and honest in my mind are the same thing, to have integrity. Because I know that Jonah wants a romantic relationship someday that fulfills him. Everyone wants that, most people. And these are the things that you work out in these younger years so you do not massively fuck yourself over because you don't have that part of your brain that you have not practiced to control. Okay, I want to do this. My friends aren't going to think I'm cool if I do this. What if it's a girl who doesn't think you're cool if you're whatever? It's so important that you learn these things now, that you flex the muscle of honesty, flex the muscle of accountability. So, because even in your relationships, you're not going to be perfect, but you're not even practicing accountability right now. And your relationship is going to be over if you cannot be accountable when you make a mistake. If you do not immediately after the mistake recognize, or after whatever time you need to be like, oh shit, I messed up. You have not done that at all with us. And I don't appreciate that. And that tells me you have work to do and we need to help you get there. Because my goal is for you to have happy, healthy relationships in your life. And this is where you learn those things. You have to, just like at the gym, build those muscles. Every time it's hard to tell the truth and you do it anyway, that muscle gets stronger. And it's not easy. But what do I always say? Everything is difficult until it is easy. So you have to practice doing the hard thing. And then your relationships will be much more cohesive. You will feel respected because you will find someone that respects you because you know how to respect someone. You understand reciprocity. We're not there yet, and it's obvious you need help getting there. That's how I feel.
It's like the other day when I'm pretty sure I definitely told you, that I stopped by Freddy's for a burger on the way home from work. And, like, that shit's embarrassing. I don't want to admit to any human being that I can't make it all the way home and make something healthy for myself, that I've got to, like, pull over and, just because of my unhealthy cravings, to pull over and eat a fucking fast food burger on the way home. But I came home and I was honest about it on purpose, like, to push through that difficulty, because I've been caught, 15 years ago I was caught lying about the same bullshit. Like, I'm just like, okay, I'm still struggling with the same thing, but I refuse to be dishonest about it.
That's awesome.
That's amazing.
Good job.
Thanks.
That is awesome.
I wasn't trying to toot my own horn. I'm just trying to give an example of,
And also, where's my burger?
Of, like, it's hard. It's hard to just fucking be like, all right, I'm going to be honest. It sucks, but I'm going to be honest. I'm just going to do it. I'm just going to do it. And the natural consequences are the natural consequences. But it's always going to be so much better than getting caught in a lie. It's always going to be better than getting caught in a lie.
I just want to say that I fucking admire it. I feel like I'm not saying I know you backwards and forwards or whatnot, but we've known each other for a long time, and I just believe who you are. I believe you're an honest individual, and I think it's incredible, because I think there are so many people that go through life and don't ever try to change, don't ever try to improve something about themselves, or hit hard things and not double down, you know, and be like, well, there's no point now, or what the fuck, why do I care, you know? I admire it. I think it's fucking awesome. And also, second point, I just had a thought that I think a really good test for yourself, and if you're like being honest with yourself for anybody, is asking yourself, would I be in a romantic relationship with myself? And if you, and exploring all facets of that, like, would I want my partner to tell me they were going to do something specific with my car they were taking and then completely lie and break that trust?
Shit would ruin a relationship.
Would I be okay with my partner doing, would I be in a relationship with myself, you know, doing these things? And I think if we're saying, you know what, I really wouldn't want to be in a relationship, I would want to be in a relationship with myself because of this, this, and this, but definitely not because of these things, that's where all my attention should be. How can I fix this? How can I get better at this? What can I do to not have this be a problem for me?
And I want to say that, as you said to Jake, like, I trust you, I believe you, I got like full body chills of like, I've never really acknowledged it to myself, but every word that comes out of your mouth, I believe too. And that is like so awesome that you have truly like done so much work to be a trustworthy person, to, you know, I have your location and I never think to look at it or anything. Like, I am so proud of you, Jake, and so grateful for the example that you are showing these boys. Like, your dad knows what it's like to suffer the consequence. Hear him when he says it's not worth it, you know? Good job. I'm so proud of you.
Thank you. And when we were talking the other day, you know, shortly after the experience, one of the things that he said is like, I had no idea why I just did that. Why I was driving all those fuckers around, you know, and letting them drink. Like, I didn't have any fun. I was worried about them doing something stupid the entire time. You know, there's the possibility of him, you know, just blowing smoke and preaching what he thinks I want to hear, but I didn't feel that way. I felt like it really did dawn on him that he got nothing out of it except for a severe punishment, and that ultimately his friends do not, if they're willing to let him take that risk for their benefit, then they're not real friends of his.
Absolutely.
And I'm sorry for that, Jonah. That sucks. To put yourself out there. And it sucks, and I'm sorry for that.
And ultimately, I think what we want is for you to just experience those natural consequences and let that guide you. Like, okay, that sucked. These people obviously don't give a fuck about me. I'm not going to put myself in that position again, because the natural consequences of that were, that put me in a dangerous situation. That was not fun for me, and I got in trouble. Well, even without the trouble, the natural consequences of, I did not enjoy that, and I don't feel cared for right now by these people. What we want ultimately is for that to be enough to guide you. And what we're seeing is that natural consequences are not enough at this point, and so we need to put a little bit stronger boundaries in place, and maybe that will be a good reminder for you to be less impulsive and make better choices. And again, all it comes down to is love and care and wanting you to just be safe, you know?
And even if something safety-wise hadn't happened naturally, you know, like you didn't get the natural consequence of somebody getting hurt, but what if it was just the natural consequence of getting caught? Somebody already looked up that
$750 fine, 4 months in jail.
$750 fine and 4 months in jail for a minor. For a minor to get caught with an open alcohol container driving down the road.
Even if you're not drinking.
It doesn't even if you're not drinking. Doesn't have to be on your breath, nothing. Just because it's been cracked open and it's in your vehicle, up to 4 months in jail for a fucking 16-year-old. Like, you want those kinds of natural consequences? No, I mean, thank God that didn't happen.
That would have really sucked. I think that whenever my children have to go through anything hard, even if it's a punishment I gave them, it hurts me and it makes me sad, and I don't want my kids to suffer at all. So I just really hope you can understand that all we want is your happiness and your well-being and your safety, and that there is no part of us that enjoys. We are not like, we get to get you in trouble and you're, but like, we just want your happiness and well-being. And if you can figure out how to make better choices without punishments, fucking hallelujah. You know? That would be great.
And I think maybe. Oh wait, are we going to funny now? Who's got a joke?
Sorry.
Oh, go ahead.
Anthony told me this one on a Santa Claus app today. Why is Christmas cold? Because it's in December.
Nailed it.
That's pretty bad.
I like it though.
Karen's gonna ask to see the task manager after that one.
I won't tell him.
Ready?
Please.
So this pirate
Arr.
walks into a bar. He's got a steering wheel hanging from his belt. And the bartender's like, "Hey, Mr. Pirate, you got a steering wheel hanging from your belt." And the pirate says, "Arr, it's driving me nuts."
I love that one.
There's another pirate
I got it.
joke. There it is. Oh yeah, I just
What's a pirate's favorite letter in the alphabet? You'd think that, but it'd be the C.
Nice.
Gets me every time.
Well played.
Pretty good, pretty good, pretty good.
Heavy.
Yes, I was just thinking.
Life is not all roses.
Parenting's hard.
Jonah, I
Being a
want
kid
to
is
say I
hard.
really admire you for opening. We would not have done this without your permission. And you are so awesome. You're so fucking great and cool and amazing. And we're so lucky to have the opportunity to parent you. Like, I hope you feel that and really understand how deep I mean that to be your mother is such an honor and a privilege. And you teach me so much. And you set such a good example to me in so many areas. You help me in so many ways. You motivate and inspire me. You are such a kind brother to Anthony. I just want to say I love you and I admire you so much. That's all. Super grateful for you. Thank you.
I love you too. You truly are awesome. There were many tears shed on that drive home from Sedona. You're powerful with your art, and I know your heart too. I feel like I've known you since you were just a little boy. And I think you're truly one of the greatest human beings I've ever known.
And we listened to your song Back on Track, and I looked back in the back seat and Anthony was just weeping. And I just want you to know that the gift of music that you give to our family helps us all process our feelings and to feel it all. Like, you bring so much beauty and so much value and so much goodness to our family, and I'm just so thankful that you are here.
You have lots of cheerleaders, not haters, on these couches. Just to remember that when you do feel like we're out to get you in situations, like, we have your best in every moment. That's what's important to us. And like Mom and I just keep saying, it's about you being safe. That's what we want. That's what makes our hearts happy, to know that you're okay.
Mm-hmm. And that you're happy.
Mm-hmm.
And we know that you will be most happy when you are making good choices.
Yes.
In the name of Jesus Christ, amen. We haven't told any
that's a
Mormon
clip.
jokes. I feel like there are some, but that's probably offensive. So
Let's-
maybe we'll skip them.
Let's not make anyone
Next
else.
time,
Let's not
episode
make anyone else
28.
angry
Not
this
bad.
week.
Okay, go ahead.
Ready?
All right, so the women's group of Mormons is the Relief Society. So how many Relief Society members does it take to screw in a light bulb?
How many?
3. One to screw in the light bulb and 2 to plan refreshments.
That's a good one.
That is a good one.
To chisel the ice sculpture.
Great.
That's great. Yeah, we love our Mormon friends.
Mm-hmm.
All right, well, thanks everybody. Are we done? I need
One to screw in
A
the light
break.
bulb and 2 wives.
2 wives to support.
That is a good one. I used to always say one about work, like how many restaurant employees does it take to, how long does it take a restaurant employee to screw in a light bulb? And the answer is, how much time did you give them? Because that's
I think
accurate
that's true of all of us.
every time.
Yeah, that's
Well,
hilarious.
thank you, and thank you, and thank you,
Thank
and thank
you,
you,
too.
Love
and
you
thank
all.
all of
Love
you.
you,
all
Jonah,
right back.
Thank you,
and
thank
I
you,
love
thank
you all
you.
so much. Thank you for doing this crazy co-parenting thing with me. I hope it's been of value to you. All our shit being our laundry out to dry. What's it called? Airing out our dirty laundry is that
Yeah.
what it's called?
Mm.
No dysfunction here.
Mm-hmm. Thank you, thank you. Have a great day.
Mwah.
Love you.
Four parents, 9 kids, 2 houses. Didn't really wanna talk about this. 4 parents, 9 kids, some queer. One thing's clear, there's no dysfunction here. 4 parents, 9 kids, 2 houses. Didn't really wanna talk about this. 4 parents, 9 kids, some queer. One thing's clear, there's no dysfunction.